How you going, guys? LGB put up a video asking for a little bit of advice on Fallschirmjäger's company, and I thought, yep, I'll see what I can do for you, mate. Alright, number one, this is the Bridge by Bridge book. I sort of swear by this book for a Fallschirmjäger company. In here you have the what was the old Hell's Highway lists. They were fantastic. They were really competitive Fallschirmjäger companies, and they still are. Um, Even more so now. When you're thinking of a when you're thinking of a Fallschirmjäger company, you got to remember you're a infantry company. That's it, soul and soul. Most of your stuff that you get is if we have a look over here, most of your armor and stuff like that is are support. Um, but in the Market Garden book, the Bridge by Bridge, your support out of these options are if you take Vanderhide, which is a special character. I don't know if you're into special characters, which is this guy here, Vanderhide. He basically never trusted other companies that joined the Fallschirmjäger. So what he would do, he would commission his own officers to be in charge of his particular platoons and stuff like that. So if he say got like a Panzer IV platoon, he would put his own officers in charge. Therefore, they don't come under the Allied rules in 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 the Flames of War series. So that's a big bonus there. So the only thing you got to really keep an eye out for then is their rating. So most of the here marks, like these here guys here, are confident, either confident vets or the SS are fearless, but you pay the hell out of them. So you don't really want to be taking too many SS guys. What makes a good Fallschirmjäger company? Now, I can look at any book, and straight away you want your core. So in your core, you have your HQ. You want at least 2 platoons. I would even stretch to say 3 platoons. You want to try and cover that board in some FJs. So you want at least 2, but I would really try and get 3. That's any FJ army you want. You really want to maximize the amount of infantry you have on the board to the most effectiveness you can with them. So if you can take 3 in a 1700, I think you said 1750, that's really good. So basically what you're getting is you're getting 3 platoons of 10 guys, and in these 10 guys you want to upgrade them. You really do want to upgrade them to their Panzerfausts, or if you're mid-war you want to give them Panzerknackers, or so you really want to give them that. You want to give them that anti-tank option. You do not want people assaulting you. That's the idea. So if the more anti-tank you have in with these platoons, the less likely, if you're up against a tank army, you're not going to get assaulted. They're just going to be fucking dumb to try and assault an FJ. That they don't run away. They're going to punch you in the ding-dong so hard if they've got some anti-tank in there. Any tank that goes in there, most Brit platoons around the 4 to 5 tanks, and even the Americans, so they're just going to get, you're going to think twice unless they're a very good player. They smoke, have infantry backup with tanks, and that's a whole different ball game. So what you want to do is you definitely want maximize your platoons, put as much of the anti-tank you can in there to really make them a fearful army. Up in your HQ section, you want to take your HQ and you want to take 3 Panzerschreck teams. You definitely want the 3 Panzerschreck teams. And why? You filter them out into 3 of each of the these combat platoons. You definitely want that. That's more anti-tank again. So they're going to be nuts to try and attack now. So basically, what you've got is you've got Panzerfausts and you've got Panzerknackers in there, Panzerschrecks in there. So that becomes quite a unit that you don't want to attack. Next you want is anti-infantry. You definitely want to take your HMGs. They're a must. You want to put them in positions where you can cover your platoon. So every platoon that you buy, you want enough HMGs, a sensible number of HMGs, to sit up and cover any infantry assault that could happen. So you want to have covering fire lanes. That comes down to when you're setting up. So that's something you really want. The next thing you want is mortars. You want mortars in your Fallschirmjäger platoons. So once you take mortars, whether it be 8s or 12s, 8s is usually cheaper, so 8s is a better option. You really only want them for the smoke capabilities. You want to smoke things. This is most important with an infantry army. You've got to use smoke. So you definitely want to take some mortars. So that's your backbone there, and that'll take you up around about, probably off the top of my head, you'd be up around the 1200, probably 1300 points or something like that. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Might be a little bit more than that. From there, you want some anti-tank assets. Being Pack 40s is usually a good start. Pack 40s are a really nice gun. They get that, if you're defending, you get that nice, always you're going to ground with the gun team if you haven't fired. So they can be dug in and gone to ground, so they're really hard to hit until the right moment, once you're fired. So basically, it comes down to you, the player, and how how mentally tough you are from holding off from an attack, when to attack at the right time. That's what anti-tank, these Pack 40s are all about. So you just hold off. They could be popping off. They might, and they've got gun shields too, so they need firepower checks. Well, they get firepower checks if you dug in and whatnot anyway. But they're a really survivable gun now with the version 3 rules, and you'd just be mad not to take them for the points that they are. 4 Pack 40s, 240 points. And you can, you can be smart, and you can comf group and put 2 on one flank and 2 on the other flank. There's lots of little tricks you can do with them. As for taking armor in an FJ army, this is the you can take Panzer IVs. Here you can take Panzer IVs, which are actually FJ Panzer IVs, which are really good, but they're a Hermann Göring, but they'll come under, there's no allied crap and that. They're confident trained, which is nice. You can take that. But for the old, if you say in casino, you can take martyrs. Martyrs are absolutely brilliant. Martyrs are a mobile Pack 40. They're going to get shot. They're going to get beat up if you don't play them right. But you have Stormtrooper, which is great. They move. They're 6 inches because they're a tank, and you can always get one shot off if you move. Where a Pack 40, if you move, you don't get any shots. So it's they're just good. They're worth it if played right. But if you get shot, you're gonna get hit. The good thing about most of the FJ martyrs and most of the lists, if you have a look, is they're fearless vet martyrs. You pay a little bit more for them, but they're well worth the points. Armor is really hard to add to an FJ list unless you want to add like your Stugs. Stugs are a good option. I don't mind Stugs as a in a FJ list. They are very good. Panthers, I'd have to agree. I read a comment there from Crack Cubes, and yeah, I agree. You don't want to be touching Panthers. They're too dear. You're going to be upset if you lose them, and for the price they are and for the impact on the game they're going to have, they're not going to be that detrimental. The problem with an FJ list is you're an absolute perfect army to defend. You can sit there, they will come to you, and you can really punch people in the ding dong hard. Now, where it gets really tricky with an FJ list is if you're the attacker, which 9 times out of 10 you probably won't be the attacker, because if you're versing some mechanized or armor or something like that. But if you're in first inf and you're both on the have to roll off, and you just having to roll shitty and be the attacker, it starts getting very interesting with FJs, because 9 times out of 10 the other army would probably have some armor in their list, even though they're an infantry list, and 9 times out of 10 FJs don't have a lot of armor. So that becomes really interesting. So that's why I like to say, if you can put in, say, martyrs, or you can put in a Stug or something like that, that is good for if you are attacking. And it can be good for when you're defending. You can sneak around, but the trick is with FJs is smoke. You just want to smoke, 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 and run to where you need to be, and make sure you get into cover, and make sure you got those firing lines down with your HMGs. Make sure that your mortars are cracking off shots constantly. As for other artillery, you can take other artillery. I never ever bothered with my FJ lists. I always just took mortars. I love mortars. They had, especially the 12s. The 12s are wicked. I used to, really pack a bit of a punch with the 12s. So if you've got 2 sets of mortars, you can lay down 2 lots of smokes, and that becomes good if you're attacking. You can really start moving up the board without taking too many hits and getting into cover and stuff like that. FJ Army is a great army. They're a hard army to play, but they're a very hard hitting army, and they won't, 9 times out of 10, they won't run away. I have had the game where they run away, the bastards. So it does happen, but if you take, say, Vonderheide, which he can also take, he's got a special ability where he can take trap teams. Trap teams are really nasty. Just have a quick look here. What are we up to? 11 minutes. Trap teams are good. It's just another little anti-tank asset that you can take. With Vonderheide. And Vonderheide, if he joins a platoon, he motivates them on a 2+, which is also good. So you're guaranteed never to run away type of thing. So Vonderheide's got this little rule up here called they're called Vonderheide trap teams. So basically take Vonderheide and you can pay for a little separate section of Panzerfaust trap teams that run with him, and they're always in ambush, and they got some special rules here. I'm not going to read out. They can basically pop out within 4 inches under cover and stuff like that, and just punch tanks in the ding dong. So they're if you got them on the table, they'll mitigate movement, especially if the other player knows you got trap teams. They can mitigate movement, because what's going to happen is that player is going to 9 times out of 10 try and stay away from cover, and if he stays away from cover, then he's going to be out in the open. So then you've got your pack 40s to take with him. So you really get that nice balance there where you can mitigate where you're sort of moving people with just those little trap teams. Because if he knows he's within 4 inches or 6 inches of cover, he's going to get smashed. And especially if he's in no man's land or your half, he knows that's. And if he knows, if he's a good player, and even if he's a newbie, you tell him. That's what you tell him. Like, all right, I got trap teams. This is what they do. And then in the back of their mind, it's a little mindfuck thing that they'll be sitting going, "Oh, hang on, I don't want to be near that forest." But at the same time, I don't want to be out in the open. So it limits where he wants to move and how he moves. Because you're going to punch him in the ding-dong with pack 40s or your martyrs if you end up taking them, or if he gets near a forest and it's the right position, right time, you're going to pop your tank trap teams and smack him that way. So armor for an FJ is not a problem. They can eat armor like anything. As long as you take the anti-armor assets, you're sweet. But as I said, you are an infantry team. You have primarily infantry. If you do take tanks, it becomes an interesting game, because once you've taken all your infantry and all the artillery assets and stuff like that are all FJs, you don't really have a lot of points left for a lot of armor. What armor you do take, it will be the small stuff like the Stugs and the martyrs. And I still say martyrs. Martyrs are friggin' brilliant. I don't know if this helps you, GB. This is just coming from when I've played FJs and how I've played FJs. I've been quite successful in playing my FJs like that. I've never had a lot of armor in my FJ armies, but it could be fun. It'd be fun just to shake it up with armor, but the best thing is be patient, wait for them to come to you. If you're the attacker, use smoke. Smoke the hell out of them, move undercover, move in strategic ways. Make sure you got firing lines down for infantry with your HMGs. So just remember, when your HMGs move, you still get shots. You know, in the old rules it was crap, but now you're still getting, I think it's 3 shots. So you're still doing stuff. You know, you're still You know, they're still worth it. They're even better now in 3 because of the whole way that we're moving and firing with MGs and that. And you are only rifle MGs, but it's the other assets that you take with it that make the difference. So don't be discouraged by it, man. Just jump in, have a go, try that, see what happens, and I hope you're successful with it. And still today, the FJ Army is still one of my favourite armies to play, simply because I don't have a lot to worry about. It's just some infantry. Alright,